Okay, this is a video about how to put a new string on. So the first thing you have to do is take the old string off. So in this case, it's the A string, right? Oh, it's his A string is unraveling. So make sure, follow the string up to the peg box and make sure you know which peg you're going for, and then turn it completely all the way low. So that's towards you. So you can see, and then it starts to unravel. So that's the first thing. If you're changing your strings, like the whole set, do one at a time. Don't take them all off, because then your bridge is going to fall down and maybe your sound post. So take one off. We're going to start with A string, like the order you tune. So take it off, pull it out, and then you got to pull it out of here. In this case, he's got this kind of tailpiece, or it goes in like this. Some tailpieces, it goes right inside the tailpiece. Like that, there's just like a hole. This one, there's a little, it's because it's a fine tuner. Now, be careful, because at this point, the peg is now loose. And I've seen kids, all of a sudden the peg flies off and it's under the sofa, and then your peg's gone. And it costs a lot of money to get a new peg made and put in. But I'm taking it out to show you this. The peg has this hole through there. That's where you're going to put the end of the string. Occasionally, I've seen pegs that have had 2 holes. But anyway, so don't worry about that. The goal is, when you string this up, you want the strings to all go up nice in order like that. So you don't want one string crossing over another. See how my G string goes straight up and then my D goes straight up, A and E. You don't want to get them where they're like crisscrossing over each other. That's bad. Just not going to explain why. Just don't do it. Okay, so when you look inside your peg box, you're going to notice the hole of in the peg is going to be, it's not like sort of right in the middle. So you got to look inside your peg box and you got to see where it is. Then, knowing you're going to have to ravel it around 5 times, 5 or 6 times, maybe even more, you're going to have to plan it out, and you're going to have to look at that hole. If you think you don't want it, if the hole is really close to one side or the other of the peg box, when you put it in there and you start to ravel it around on one side or the other of the hole, you don't want too much of the winding to be all bunched up next to this thing is called the peg box, and next to the wall of the peg box, because if it's all bunched up in there, it's going to cause tuning problems. You want it to lay nice and flat. Like this string is perfect. See how it went in there, and then you can see it's just raveled around in little, all in a line, and it's not crossing over each other. You don't want it to ravel up that way. I'll show you. This is the D string. See if I can do this in the camera, kind of. I'm going to undo this one, but I'm not going to take it out. So what you don't want to do is go like this, cross it this way, and then, and then let it cross back. You don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to do that. It's wrong. You're going to ravel it so that it goes, see that? It's nice, all lined up nice like that. You don't want it crossed over. So I'm getting this in the wrong spot because I'm doing it mirror image. That's not really the string we're doing. We're doing the A string. Okay, so this is a brand new A string. So it's probably, if you try to stick it in there, it's going to probably pop out, but it might not if you have this. But you can try to stick it in. So it's usually got this little, we call that the ball end. Sometimes there's a loop. I'll talk about that separately. But the ball end, you have to stick it in there in the tuner like that. You kind of have to get it up in there. See that? And then get the ball stuck on the other side of that. Now, if you have the metal tuners, and if the little space in the tuner is not wide enough to stick the string. You can take like a flathead screwdriver or something and you can kind of pry it open a little bit if you need to. I wouldn't do that with a plastic one. It would probably just break it. That's only if you have metal fine tuners and they're really small. And I would only do it if you really, like even if you could try to like use a pen, the tip of a pen or something just to try to get it down in there. If you have this kind of a tuner, this kind of a tailpiece, what you have to do is you have to stick it down under and loop it up through because the ball is probably not going to fit in the top. So you have to go from the bottom. So you take the end of the string, put it up through, and then the bottom will be on the bottom side. I'm not going to show that, but I think you can get that. So you get that thing in the fine tuner. Hopefully it won't pop out. Get it down in there. Then you got to take the end of the string and get it up in the hole in the peg box. Threading it in there is actually kind of one of the hardest parts. So I'm just like threading it in there. And then you're going to wrap it around. You want to make sure you're turning away from you because that's to make it tighter, you turn away. So you wrap it in there and then you stick it in there and you start turning away. Don't turn towards you. And then you just kind of have to guide it. Now you want to make sure when it starts to get tight, you want to make sure that the string there's a little groove there up in the nut. You want to make sure it's in the groove. You also want to make sure it's in the groove of the bridge. When it's really flabby, you won't be able to do that. You can't do it until it gets really tight. Now, this string has this little thing. It's called a bridge protector. Not all strings have it. It's not a big deal either way. But when it starts to get a little bit tight, what you can do, the bridge protector is supposed to go here. So, like, it was there. You cannot use it. The idea of it, it's supposed to help the string not cut the groove in the bridge too deep. They're actually kind of really helpful on the E string. I'm surprised this even has this on the A string, but it does. It's a steel string, so whatever. You can just put it on there. And that's how that goes. Or if you don't want to use it at all, I mean, I think he should, but you could, before you put the string on, you could pull it all the way off and pull it off the end of the string. So then when you start to get it, it's still way too flabby, then you can just start to tune it normally.